Shit we don't like.
We're back for episode 3 of Shit We Don't Like, and you guys are probably wondering a lot of things, like, the podcast has been gone a while. I'm in a completely different background, as you can see, and, there's only 2 of us now, so, we're not gonna dwindle on this for too long. Basically, what happened, if you guys didn't know, is, Wasteland World Official, if you guys didn't know, he did leave the community a few months ago, and as you know, he was the third, and, he was the third part of this podcast. He was like, our third guy here originally. He was an integral part of what made this podcast what was so great. But, we're not gonna let this podcast, we're not stopping it. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep this one going for you guys. We got lots of guest stars that are going to be appearing soon. Lots of fun topics to talk about. And the plan is we're going to be doing this monthly now instead of weekly. Because to be honest, guys, weekly, this was a bit of a challenge. Trying to film once a week. Something would kind of go wrong all the time. But,
well, I mean, I will say one thing, too, is, like, we do this weekly, guys. We promise it's weekly. It'll be another 10 months. So, you know what? We're going to stick with 1 month. I think that'll work better for us. Also because, well, we all have shows we're working on, so it's a little bit less of a bit of an, oh, no, we got to do one, instead of it's a, oh, we're going to do one. So, you guys can enjoy these at the end of every month and, kind of sit back and enjoy them. So that's what you guys will be able to get now.
Exactly. More of a, for fun thing, if you will. But, with that being said, guys, we are going to be getting into today's topic, which is, something that, we've talked about quite a lot on, I think, both of our channels now. I've talked about it on, community streams. You bring it up quite frequently in a lot of your YouTube videos. And that is, just the state of the Walking Dead franchise. What's been going on with it. The spin-offs, the Rick movies. Just the state of everything that's been going on with it, right? And we're gonna kind of get into, our thoughts on it, kind of like what's been going on, just where we're at with it personally. So, start this off by getting into, the main Walking Dead. And, well, there's only one thing I gotta say about that to start it off is, Pope. No, but all seriousness, freaking, yeah. So, where at least I sit on the main Walking Dead, at least personally, is this, like, it's good, but it could be so much better. Like, there's so many other things that I've expected from Season 11. I ain't saying it's bad, personally, but there's just a lot of weird things about it. Like, no character deaths. Big Season 1 characters, like, Carol, for example, just kind of shoved off to the backlog. Like, she ain't really a character this final season at all. And with her not being in the Daryl spinoff anymore, this is our last hurrah with that character. And, she's not getting any screen time. She hasn't really done much. Negan, he ain't been doing too much. And I guess I understand that, because Season 10, he kind of was the main character of that season. And he still has a chance to be good later on, because this isn't the last time we're seeing Negan. Negan's going to be going off in a spinoff with Maggie, right? But Carol really... This is kind of just it for her. Like, after this, that's the end of that character, right? And another thing, too, is, just, like, the villains have all been kind of... At least on my opinion, they've been lacking. Like, Lance, I liked him at first, but he kind of just... As you sit on him, you kind of start to see the problems, at least on my end of things. Also, Leah, not my character. Pope, well, I can go on about that all day. He's meme royalty. And, Toby's cool, but they offed him too fast. They just, like, it's like, oh, here's this sick new villain. Okay, finally. We're gonna get a good villain that does some shit. And then, he kind of falls off a roof and gets eaten by zombies. So, yeah, exactly. Goodbye, right? But, yeah, I don't know. What are your thoughts on, like, the final season so far, Dan?
Here's the thing, too, and I've said this in, like, countless videos at this point, but Season 11 is the season. You'll find me defending that season quite often. However, the thing is that if this was a random offshoot season, I would have said I like it. It's a good season. It has its problems, but fine. It's not the ending, whatever. But as a final season, as the last note you're going to leave things on, I'm really doing this right now for 11C because, to be honest, the villains have not been good. The only one that's been somewhat good is Lance, but again, that's only because of the actor, if you ask me. The material that they've given Josh to do is, in my opinion, really not that good. And one of the things I'll say, like, season 11 and just the recent, episodes of Walking Dead, like, you'll still run into episodes that I think deserve praise. Like some of the early ones in season 11, the Connie episode with Virgil, that's a good episode. Episodes like No Other Way, Warlords, But then you'll also have episodes like, The Rotten Core, where they're going to get cash for this idiot that thinks he's Joffrey Baratheon or something. And it's like, okay, look, I don't really think that this show is, going down a horrible route. I just think as an ending or as a kind of setup for an end, we're not getting what we want. We're not, because let's be honest here. If I had to ask you guys right now, what do you want for the final season? I want a guy has a mustache rolling around freaking like talking to Daryl about his dog named Tick. Would you rather that, or would you rather Rick Grimes comes in that helicopter, raises some hell, connects all these storylines together with Lance, Commonwealth, that's somehow connected, and so on and so forth, and get this big reveal that changes the whole franchise, and it's like, where do we go from here? But we're stuck with, this mustache guy that thinks that Daryl's on his side, even though he was on the road with your enemy. I mean, that's real smart, So, I guess to kind of say my thoughts on the show right now, I like it. I still do. I like it for what it is. But am I terrified for the ending? Yeah, honestly. But you know what the funny thing is, guys? And this is kind of where I'll leave things off. It's the best thing from this franchise right now. So, without further ado, let's get into the next one.
Yep, which will be Fear, which will be right back after this segment, guys. Go. Alright, the big elephant in the room for the franchise this year, guys. Fear the Walking Dead. Now, as you guys know, last year they aired Season 6, 6B, and, yeah, exactly. But, we aired 6B last year, and I thought it was decent. I thought it was okay, but, they had, they aired, 7B this year, and, I'm not gonna lie, guys, it might be one of the worst halves of television. If you could look at the key art over there, it's hideous. Everything about this half is hideous. Episodes make no sense. We're still stuck in radiation for all of the whole thing. And, they promised us Victor, right? Like, for almost 5 seasons now, they've been like, we're building Victor up. He's gonna be this big villain that's gonna cause so much shit. Look at all this bad shit he's doing. And we're all like, oh crap, like, they actually are making him kind of do some shit. Like, what the hell's this villain arc gonna be like? And then we finally get to it in Season 7, right? And, you know what I thought of that was, well, it deserves to be flushed down the shitter. It was awful. The whole villain arc, excluding Beacon. Beacon is okay. It's legit the only episode I can defend the whole season, though, which is embarrassing. For a 16-episode season, you got one good episode. That's terrible. But, yeah, Beacon is alright. But literally every other episode, guys, you're stuck in radiation. Characters are making bad decisions. They make you desire a war, but they don't deliver on that war. They don't give you that war. Like 708, you get the terribly voiced line, we're going to war. But then 7B, it's like, okay, but first we gotta go and play instruments and play the bagpipes first and go on an adventure with a guy that falls off a roof in the same episode, or hallucinate and trip balls with Daniel for an episode. Like, I don't know, guys. Like, they promise a war, but in reality, they didn't ever write a war. There's no war this season. It's just a bunch of characters doing stupid little fetch quests out in the radiation for a whole season. And then the writers are like, oh shit, we promised a war. We still have to deliver on that. Okay, quickly, turn Wes into a villain so we can have him just be the death and we could say we did the war in one episode. Yeah, let's just do that real quick. And, I know some people like that episode, and like I said, to each their own, but at least on my end, Divine Providence, like the war episode, you know, the one we've been desiring for so long, I say it's, like, god-awful, at least on my end. They didn't deliver on a war they promised. Victor randomly is just a good guy again, and then, you know, they make you want this fight, too, right? Like, okay, like, at least Alicia and Victor are gonna have, like, a fist fight or something, right? And it's, like, 30 seconds, and it sounds like an old married couple bickering. It's very... oh, man, just so terrible. And then, you know, we get episodes like Amina after, which, if you guys don't know, I haven't really talked much about this other than my fear rant I did a few weeks ago. Amina is my least favorite episode, at least of television. Not, like, in terms of, like, animated things included, because I can go off about some of those episodes all day. Boys Diabolical. But, at least in terms of, like, live-action entertainment for this year, and just overall, I'd say Amina is the worst thing I've ever watched in that genre, just because it's confusing, it looks terrible, they don't tell you Alicia's leaving, so you're not even expecting it. They almost leave it ambiguous, like, oh, is Alicia dead? Because she's all healed at the end, but you don't really know. They bring the twin brother back randomly, they act like he's just been with the group this whole time, even though, for anyone that still watches the show, like, after 7:04, he just disappears, right? You don't see him. And 7:15, hey, he's back. You remember him? Yeah, he's been with us the whole time. Yeah, the twin brother guy. And then, oh, man. Yeah, and Alicia left the show, right? Which, that caused a huge, shit disturbance within the fan base. Because they didn't give people the heads up on that. And I actually had found out recently that, Kim Dickens, one of the reasons she came back to play Madison was to have scenes with Alicia again, right? So they didn't tell her they were getting rid of Alicia, right? They saved that, like, last minute. She found out recently, and I'm like, that is such, like, a shitty, scummy move on the writer's part of things, because you lie to the actress to have her come back. You almost trap her in, if you will. It's like, okay, sign a contract, and then you get to do scenes with Alicia Debnam Carey again. It's like, actually, nah, frick you, we lied to you, now you're stuck here for like 3 more seasons. It's just a terrible business practice in my eyes. And then, as you guys know, the finale, a lot of people, like, were very mixed on it. I liked it at first, but going back on it, I just don't enjoy the whole kidnapping kids thing. I don't like, you know, Madison frickin' being a knockoff Darth Vader with the whole every 2 frickin' seconds. Like, it's like you have a scene going on, right? Like some crazy shit's going down. And every time in season 8, it's like, oh, we're in the middle of a shootout. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, shit, Padre's coming. Pew, 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 pew. Hang on, give me the breathing tank. Okay, back to shooting again, you know? It's just gonna look goofy. It ain't gonna... It's just stupid. And riddle me this, guys. Madison needs a breathing thing because she was trapped in the stadium for, like, probably God knows how long. But tell me this. Victor and Alicia in episode 14 to 15, they were trapped in a burning, flaming building. Oh, but God forbid they need a special breathing mechanism. Only Madison needs that. You can see the plot convenience all over this, guys. And it's just... it's not a good look. Like I said, the only minor compliments I can give the season, Sherry, surprisingly, is like one of the better characters to come out of this thing. Dwight's okay. Morgan's decent. Like, he's not, like, extraordinary, but he don't really piss me off, really, other than, like, some stuff in episode 7. Like, other than that, though, Morgan's fine, I guess. And, yeah, you get, like, those kinds of characters, but, like, our Fear original characters that aren't our Walking Dead characters, I'd say mostly all a write-off. You don't really get any good Fear original characters this season. I mean, you get Arno, for Christ's sakes, one of the worst villains Fear has ever tackled. They straight up introduced this guy because they're like, okay, we need to pad out time because we don't have Victor, so we're gonna bring in a filler villain to delay things so there's no war. It's stupid, it's lazy writing, and that's really all I have to say about 7B of Fear, guys. It's a complete travesty, it's a train wreck, and I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather be watching World Beyond Season 1. That's at least where I sit on it. What are your thoughts on it, Dan?
Well, coming off of what you just said, honestly, it's pretty much that simple. I mean, you guys know, for any of you that watch my channel, there were times where I even was kind of like, should I stop reviewing this show? Should I stop covering it? And for some odd reason, I thought it would get better. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep covering it, hope for the best, and maybe Madison will come back in and we'll get this really cool return and it'll be all this amazing stuff. No, it wasn't. And, here's the thing, too, is that even back in the day, I used to say, like, when they announced Madison returning on Talking Dead, like, everybody was like, oh my God, this is, so amazing. This is such an amazing idea. And I remember I said it from the jump. I was like, people, it's not going to be a good return. And, I mean, a few months later, the return was just about as bad as it could get, if not, you could argue worse. I mean, honestly, capturing babies for Padre, but then you're going to help Morgan get his kid back when for all this time you've been capturing these babies. Now all of a sudden, because this guy comes in, like, why do you care about him? You clearly don't care about your own kids, so why would you care about this guy with a stick that whooped your ass? Are you sad because he whooped your ass? Is that the problem? Like, I don't understand. Like, it's really weird. And here's the thing too, right, is that with season 5 of Fear, I at least had episodes in there that I was like, okay, that one's an alright episode. Season 7, I think, well, like Matt said, The Beacon, that's a great episode. I think they set up his arc well. The villain laugh at times, the with Strand and stuff, the way that they kind of wrote his script in that episode was really fantastic. But, you're also greeted with episodes like 6 hours that'll make you go crazy. I mean, anybody that's been a parent that's watching this video, you'll know what it's like to deal with a baby. And like, again, I haven't had kids of my own, but I'll say this, definitely, hearing a screaming baby is enough for a parent to be like, oh my God, what do I do, Every parent has had those type of moments. But you also add in Grace's complaining, her screaming, the radiation. I mean, then a twin brother comes in. Like, you're looking at a terrible, terrible train wreck of an episode. And the whole half continues on, same thing, bottle episodes, because for some reason they got to be Fear Season 6, because fans love that season, so oh dear, we better do this type of thing again. And, one of the biggest complaints I have about the season isn't even about the radiation, guys, because honestly, as Matt said, radiation is unrealistic and all that stuff, and, we could go on about that, but can we please acknowledge the biggest problem with this season, guys, is how repetitive it is. And what I mean by that is, Season 6, Morgan is out there on his own, and the enemy, who also has the same group name, the Rangers, on their side, might I add, has captured his people, has let them into their settlement, they can't get out, and Morgan now is having to go after them. He has a conversation with said enemy on the radio, on the walkie-talkie, and as soon as he tells them off, that same soundtrack starts to play. The same exact one as in the Season 6 premiere. It's like, how many times are we going to repeat ourselves? And guess what else? Morgan didn't want to kill Virginia in Season 6, Episode 9. He's like, no, we won't be any better than her. Season 7, Episode 14, Alicia, I made a deal because, Strand, we go back, it's all good. It's like, can we kill an enemy for once? No, we'll kill Wes because we don't know what to do with him. Like, it doesn't make any sense, We'll kill John Dory because we don't know what to do with him either. And then, I mean, honestly, it's the same thing. Like, this is what I would say, is that, yes, radiation's an issue, but at least I can say this, they haven't done it a season before. Y'all give them this. They've never done it before. The repetitive storytelling is what drives me crazy, and honestly, the fact that they took Morgan in 7B just because fans love Alicia even more, and now that they got Alicia back, they're like, well, we can't have Morgan go into the tower at the end of the season, because realistically, he'd kill him, right? So they're like, we're not going to plot hole ourselves that much. We'll go in, we'll have that happen, and then Alicia is going to walk into a burning building to follow this little girl that's not even real. And, you'd think, like, she would go into a burning building because that's how much she cares about Strand, like, she just needs to save his life. No, she goes in there because she thinks that she can turn that place into a home, a place that's going to collapse within the next 24 hours. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And like Matt just said, same thing. The smoke, everything like that. Madison, oh, she's struggling. Alicia, Strand, no, man, he's going to be, honestly, he's good enough. He'd probably do some yoga at Padre next thing we know. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, the more I think about the season, the more I even consider saying that World Beyond as a series is better. So honestly, all I'm going to say to this is you screwed up. You had a good season with Season 6. It wasn't perfect. By no means was it perfect, but it was a step in the right direction. I was intrigued for Season 7. And you took a concept with Villain Strand, something that's been built up forever. You screwed it up. He's with us again. He, is now having this what feels like to be a husband and wife relationship with Alicia. It was never gonna make you love me. I'm like, okay, so yeah, it's never gonna make you never gonna make her love him. Okay, well, she doesn't have to because she's doing better things. So good luck to her. Good thing she never has to see Pope 2.0 ever again, and I wish her the best. But until then, Madison's back, and we'll see what they do next. So Fear the Walking Dead. I wish you luck. You're going to need it because, honestly, we're about to talk about some other things here coming up in the rest of this podcast that arguably is probably going to end up being even worse if they play their cards right. So, yeah, let's get to the next segment, guys.
All right, and we are back. And now we are going to be talking about, hopefully, a more positive topic. We got to see where it goes, obviously, with all this stuff. Like, for all we know, this could be some masterpiece television in the late future. And we could look back at this and laugh, being like, oh, yeah, like, there's nothing to worry about, but, we still gotta voice our concerns for what's coming here, and, I guess we'll get started, but the most recent thing is, Tales of the Walking Dead. Now, Tales of the Walking Dead is a, it's an anthology series. Each episode is gonna focus on, one new character, I believe. It's a new character every episode. But here's the thing, right? And this is where my hype died down completely, right? It's because originally, back in the day, if you guys didn't know, this was talked about to be. It wasn't, like, confirmed or nothing, but it was loosely confirmed. AMC was, like, posting pictures of old characters like Glenn, Governor, all these classic characters, and they post, like, Tales of the Walking Dead, right? And we're all sitting there like, oh shit, like, we're about to see, like, some characters we ain't seen in, like, many years, like Glenn and Governor in frickin' particular, like frickin', man, like my favorite Walking Dead villain. I was so ready to see him come back. And then the actual trailer comes out, right? And this is where the concerns got like really bad, at least on my end, is because we just saw these random nobodies, like just these random people, and then we see a chick, right, at the end, and she gets bit on the neck, right? And then they expect you to go in to her episode being like, I care about this character, I want to see what happens with this character. Well, why should I give a shit? She's dead. It doesn't matter. She doesn't go anywhere. Not to mention she dies in a god-awful way. She legit stands there and it's like, yeah, okay, you can just bite me now. You can just bite me, go ahead. I'm like, okay, thanks for spoiling that much. Goddamn. Like, it's like, this is a little off topic, but recently I saw a trailer, right? And I won't spoil, but a Netflix show recently spoiled a major death in one of their trailers, and Walking Dead has just done the same thing now. I'm like, why should I care about this character? And now, I guess I won't ignore the elephant in the room, like the Alpha backstory episode. I mean, I guess that's something. I'm not hyped for it, though. Like, most people will be like, oh, it's Alpha, be hyped. It's a main show character. You're supposed to be excited about that. Like, I feel like it's a fail on the advertising, because I don't care about Alpha no more, man. Like, her backstory has been told twice. 9:10 and then 10:02. We got 2 Alpha backstory episodes. We saw how, like, the early days of the apocalypse was for her. And then we also saw how the Whispers got formed, because we saw, the episode where she meets Beta, right? And now it's like, let's do a 3rd backstory episode where we have, like, her just doing stuff before the outbreak. Like, is this whole episode just gonna be about Alpha being an abusive trailer park mom to Lydia? Like, it's a bad concept. It's stupid. It's just... Give us Governor, man. Like, or Beta. Give us a Half Moon episode. That's something hype right there. But Alpha, again? Stop milking that character. The character died. Let the character rest. Move on to new things. The character's over. What does that matter to 11C? When I come back to the final half of the show, how is this Alpha episode going to leave any impact for that? It's not going to matter. Because Alpha's long dead. Alpha's been dead a long time in the main show now. You guys, like, don't remember her death episode. That's bordering, like, next year. That's going to be 3 years ago. That was so long ago now, right? And then we have, like, the minor interest I have, right? Which is Terry Crews. Terry Crews is funny. I like him. He's a good actor. And then this one flew right past me. I didn't find out about this till friggin' recently, and pardon the pun there, it's the actor. But yeah, the A-Train actor, At least he didn't run through me, I'll say that. But, friggin', yeah, the A-Train actor, he's coming on, right? And, he's gonna be playing a character in one of these anthology episodes. I believe he's one of the leads of these things. And I'm like, yeah, I'm hyped for that, right? Because I like that actor. If you guys didn't know, I recently had gotten into the Boys, right? It's a show with the same actor. And I've seen his acting on there. He's really good. So, I'm sure he'll be good here. But my question is, you know, will the writing be good? You know, like, is it just going to be one of them cases where, okay, cool actor, but the writing is off. The actor is good, but, like, everything else around that actor, it's terrible. It's shit. Which is what I'm worried about, right? I don't know, guys. Tales is a very mixed bag for me. I don't have any hype for it, really. I mean, I'm slightly interested. I'll watch it over Fear Season 8. I am more hyped for it than that. But, you know, every show deserves a chance. But I'm going in with, like, I'll be honest, guys, the bar's, like, down here. Like, I don't have any expectations. And if it is good, I'll come out of it pleasantly surprised. But for people that have, like, their expectations up here, I'm just gonna say, like, for people that have their expectations up there, I personally wouldn't, just because, you know, the advertising's off. They've lied about characters. I don't know. That's just my take on it. What are your thoughts on Tales, Dan?
I mean, to be honest, I remember this is a funny story for everybody. I remember I was actually talking with Matt when the first trailer dropped, and I remember we were talking, and, you know, he was, just kind of chilling. We're just talking about random stuff, and randomly I approach him, and I'm like, hey, like, you know, new teaser for Tales came out. Like, this is awesome. And, you know, of course, Matt, myself, just like, oh my god, like, we're gonna see Governor. Let's turn this on. Like, this right now. Let's go, you know? We watch it. Like, it didn't take more than, like, 10 seconds. We saw, like, oh, that's it? And I remember at first I was kind of like, okay, maybe they're just keeping the Governor under wraps. And then it's like, no, they're not. They've just announced, they've just shown pictures, they've just shown everything. Leads of these episodes are characters that die. Like, characters, and here's the thing, I can't, you know, talk about, aside from the one girl that gets bit in the trailer, because I don't know, and who am I to say right off the bat, but at least with her, I can certainly talk about that one. I mean, she's dead, you know? And even if it's a dream or something, and it's a dream and it's whatever, then, you know what? I'm actually going to be happy, because right now, I'm expecting her to die, and I'm expecting an entire episode of us to try to care about her, and they're going to try to make us care about the character and all this stuff, and that's going to be a tremendous fail if they do that, you know? And a character like, you know, Glenn, or a character like Governor, or, you know, and again, like, you know, they don't have to do all of them, but at least a couple characters, you know? Let's say you can't get all of them, you know, 3 out of 6, at least. I can take 3 episodes of characters I don't know if I'm at least getting 3 episodes of characters that I know. But we're getting alpha, and here's the thing, Terry Crews and the actor that plays A-Train on The Boys, okay, fine, there's some cool actors there, but we don't know those characters, we only know the actors. So really, we're only getting 1 episode. And like Matt said, that's probably the worst decision, you know? You got characters like Abraham, characters like, you know, Governor, Glenn, Beta, and, you know, I've said this before, and I've said this in videos before too, is like, I feel like an episode with Beta where he's out on tour or something, and the stage goes dark, and the whole audience freaks out, and he's singing, stage goes dark, they have to get him out of there, because he's famous, right? They have to get him out of there. He gets on the bus, they're like, look, we got to get you somewhere safe, you know? And they're out in the streets, they're driving as fast as they can, trying to get into a safe place. You see, like, walkers starting to walk in the streets, eating people. Beta's seeing this from outside his window, and he's like, what the hell is this? Like, you know, it would have been interesting. I think it would have been really interesting, and honestly, that's the kind of episode that I think would have worked, you know? But instead, we're getting characters that we don't know, a character that gets bit, and this and that, and I think the biggest thing that's upsetting me is that they promised that we would get classic characters with an S, okay? So unless there's some sort of secret thing kind of in here, and the episode with the woman getting bit is really a Tyrese episode, and they're just not telling us that quite yet, okay, nice job, you threw me off. I'll be pleasantly surprised when it comes on my TV and I see, you know, Tyrese. I'm like, oh, that's actually a cool surprise. Nice, awesome. That's just a throwaway character in the opening minutes. Nice, I like that. You know, I would love it if this was a big swerve and you turn on those episodes and it's like, yeah, we didn't tell you. This is a princess episode. Yeah, we didn't tell you. That's a Glenn episode. We kept that pretty good, eh? We kept that secret good, eh? But no, and AMC reveals everything. For God's sakes, they can't even like let the tension be that will she or will she not die? No, bite on the neck. That's that simple. So I don't know. Where I sit on Tails, I am not excited. They better give me a reason to. I hope that San Diego Comic-Con, they can come at us with this like mind-blowing trailer, and it's like, okay, I'm ready. But until then, I'm gonna sit at concerned. I am sitting comfy and cozy at concerned as well too, might I add. And that's kind of my thoughts on it. So yeah, Tales of the Walking Dead, don't disappoint.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, the next big thing coming out is the Daryl show, right? And well, there's not much I can say about this quite yet, 'cause this is a very secretive project from what AMC have been doing with it. But this is what I'll say about it, right? Is they've announced certain things. And these are terrible things. This isn't something a series should ever announce, really, when they've already advertised things as such. You know, back in the day, right, you guys will remember, they announced this as the Daryl and Carol show. It would be about the two of them out, like, doing something. They didn't really give any plot details yet. We still have no clue what's going on with this show, really. But they advertised it, right? Daryl and Carol show. Now, they made an announcement. I'd say this is about a month and a half, 2 months ago, that Melissa McBride is no longer going to be a part of this. And that means Carol, obviously. Carol's gone. Like, character's out of this thing completely. So, right there, you shot yourself in the foot, because you've advertised this as the Daryl and Carol show. So maybe some viewers that were coming for Carol, because they're fans of that character, now don't have that character. So they're like, okay, why should I have to watch this? Like, maybe some people aren't the biggest fans of Daryl, and they were coming, you know, to see Carol, you know? Like, you shoot a lot of, like, fans in the foot with that. Another thing that, you know, the show drives me crazy with, right, is Angela Kang was put on as showrunner for this. And then, randomly, around the same time as Melissa McBride left, they did it again, literally, like, I think a day later. Angela Kang's out. She's not showrunning this no more. She's out. And I'm like, okay, like, this is a lost cause at this point. And I still think it is a lost cause, because you've lost the writer, you've lost your co-lead, your protagonist is not there no more, and your writer's gone. So they bring on a new writer. I look up who this guy is. He's apparently, like, he writes, like, medical dramas or something, which, I don't really talk about this much, but I cannot stand medical dramas, at least on my end of things. I think it's very boring genre for me. So, who knows? Maybe this guy will surprise us. Maybe this will be the best show ever. Who the frick knows? But at least starting off, it's like, I don't know, the writer choice is a little odd. Kang's gone, Melissa's gone, and they're filming in Europe. How does Daryl get to Europe? He's not driving there. You can't drive to Europe, so he's going to have to fly there somehow. Is he going to walk to Europe? Is he going to walk on water? I don't know. He, like, grows wings and flies away, like in Trailer Park Animated. Who the frick knows? But, yeah, I don't know, guys. Like, this is the one show I actually will say I have more of an interest in Fear. I'm gonna be honest, because it's been abusive to its staff. They lied it to Melissa McBride. They didn't tell her about Europe. They brought that up recently, and you know, she pieced out. And you know, they got rid of Angela, which shit move on their part again. And now Norman's frigged because he's got to stay there by himself with a bunch of people he don't know. It's a bad business move on their part, and it's just shitty behind the scenes all around, which is why this one show, I'll probably watch it, but, like, I'm not going in expecting anything from this, guys. If I were them, I would just put Daryl and Isle of the Dead at this point, cancel this altogether, because you've lost everything, basically. You've lost your co-lead, you've lost your main writer. Get rid of this, and get them on Isle of the Dead. At least we can get more Norman and JDM on there. At least you get like that at least. But yeah, that's really all I have to say about the Daryl show, guys. What are your thoughts on it, Dan?
Man, I'm going to make this quick and to the point, because honestly, unlike other shows, I could talk so much about it because we know so much. But with this show, honestly, I think you've said basically what's needed to be said. I mean, this show it's not, you know, intriguing so far. I like Daryl. I like the character. And a lot of people say, like, oh, Dan, you like Daryl. Like, why do you like Daryl so much? He's overrated. Yes, I agree. But, you know, I've been a fan of Norman's work for a while. Obviously, I like his, you know, acting. He's still a good actor. Like, you know, I think people are also too harsh on Daryl sometimes. Like, I find it's always a big extreme. Like, I hate Daryl or I love Daryl. Like, I'm kind of more so in the love Daryl, but I'm, stepped down from that, I'd say, because I do think he's overrated. But in terms of this series, Daryl and Carol show, it would have worked. But I also would have argued that even Daryl and Carol could have gone to Isle of the Dead. And I know you'd say, well, then, Dan, that's just the continuing of, The Walking Dead. And it's like, well, then you shouldn't be ending it. You should bring Andrew Lincoln back for a few more seasons. If you want to get more money out of it, if you want to actually do something with this franchise, trust me, you bring Andrew Lincoln back, you make him lead for the final few, it'll feel like he never left. I'm telling you, because it'll be a few more seasons, him there, you'll be like, season 9, season 10, what? He went missing? Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But no, instead it's going to be, he bailed and they can't let him back. They got to do the Daryl show. They got to do this show, So with the Daryl show, I'm just going to leave it at this. I think it's a bad idea. Should be an Isle of the Dead. And to be honest, I kind of, if anything, I feel for them in this because they're going to run this into the mud. And, this is a franchise, even in this podcast right now, do I want to be talking bad about this franchise? No. I wish this would be in We Do Like, because I wish that right now I could be praising, this Daryl show is so amazing, and this show is doing so amazing. This show, oh my God, it's just mind-blowing. I can't wait for all these different projects, but this show, it's another upcoming project. It's another project that I'm concerned about. A lot of things have gone wrong already, and the show hasn't even, given us a bit of footage yet, nor filmed yet. So I'm like, trailer, you better be something amazing. You better be something that convinces me to watch this, because, yeah, so far, I don't know. So, anyway, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and, we're coming up on the last upcoming show here, and then we're going to go into one of the bigger discussion topics, which is the Rick movies. But first, Isle of the Dead. Now, a lot of people are worried about this one too. Now, you guys are going to be shocked by this. This is the one show I can stick up for. I'm actually interested in this. I like the setting of New York. I think it's a unique setting for The Walking Dead. Negan's dope. Maggie's been good recently. You get them two. Now, obviously, you're going to have to explain how the two of them are in a show together, because obviously, Maggie, I think she still hates Negan for the most part, so maybe that might be a little awkward, getting to that stage of, them just being the two of them out on the road. But, they have started setting that up in 11-16, so we'll have to see where that goes in 11C, of course. But, yeah, mostly nice things to say about this show, at least on my end, guys, is, yeah, I think we're going to be seeing a lot of, cool interactions between them two characters. Visually, this show should be beautiful, because New York, that's a really nice-looking city, and we're going to have, post-apocalyptic New York, with these big skyscrapers, maybe covered in, vines and moss and stuff, Last of Us-looking stuff. Give me some of that. Oh, that would be really good. Also, more Negan is always good, because as you know, I'm an avid Negan defender. I mostly agree with almost everything he does. He's one of the reasons the main show is still as good as it is when I put on an episode of The Walking Dead, I'm like, oh man, we're gonna get Negan though. Negan's so great. He's always a great part of the show. So getting a spin-off with him, yeah, I'm always down for that. And what this could be is almost like the TV show equivalent of Negan Lives, except we don't just stop after one, story. We keep going, maybe get a season or two out of it. Now, if it was just The Walking Dead, Rick movie, and then this, Isle of the Dead, you got a pretty good franchise there, I'd say. But, with everything else included, you kind of have to reevaluate. But like I said, guys, this is one of the few times I can stick up for something from this franchise recently. I'm going to give it a shot. This I'm definitely going to watch. This seems very interesting, and I like the concept of it. The only thing I'm iffy on is the villain. Apparently he's a comedic, Negan type of villain that when he kills people, he makes jokes. I'm like, okay, maybe that's a little bit of a ripoff, good Negan versus evil Negan. If they're trying to go for that, that's going to be a little weird. Maybe come up with a more original concept for your antagonist. But honestly, guys, at least in terms of everything else, I'm hyped. I'm ready for this show. This should be really good. So, what are your thoughts on it, Dan?
Honestly, we've been complaining and, talking about all these, bad things. How in the main show, we're kind of this is not the ending that, we feel is necessary. But with this, I mean, honestly, here's the thing is like, and this is why I'm more interested in this show rather than the Daryl and the Daryl show, is because, you know, I feel like a show like this, and this really should tell you guys something, right? Is because a show like Daryl and Carol show, again, my apologies, it's time to get used to this freaking franchise. But anyway, you know, a show like the Daryl show sounds really interesting, but guess what, guys? It was announced in 2020. And this show, I still have not heard any news on production. I've heard no news on anything going forward. No villain of the series news or what it's even going to be about. I mean, it's still a mystery on why Daryl's even there, for God's sakes. They've told us nothing, you know? All they've told us is doom and gloom rather than things to be excited for. Whereas with this, I can actually say there's been news. The scripts are made. Lauren Cohan and Jeffrey Morgan have said consistently, which I don't like this in entertainment when they're like, oh my god, these are the best episodes ever, which they kind of have been hyping that up. But I'm like, hell, for all we know, they're right. You know, for all we know, they're right. We haven't seen it yet, you know. I still don't like that they do it, but you know what? It makes me more confident. It makes me more willing to check this show out if it's so amazing, you know. And it's like, I feel like a character like Negan, you can really use that character for as long as you want. That character does not get boring. If Negan ever got boring, yeah, maybe time to shut her down. But aside from that, I think it's a great idea. Maggie, I've really been impressed with lately. I hope they continue to write her character as good as she's been. And, you know, we've already had filming news, you know. Apparently, according to what I've heard, it's supposed to start filming in a few months. They've already, like, set, you know, a date on when they're going to film this show. The scripts are ready. The actors sound motivated. Lauren and Jeffrey already sound like they're ready for this. The main villain's revealed, the main location, and all this stuff. I mean, they're set, to be honest. I mean, any other surprises that come along the way will just be a fun surprise in the show. I feel like we've already got all the info we need, aside from a trailer, that is, and, you know, artwork and stuff. But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. And to be honest, I feel like this is going to be the one thing that may actually end up being successful. Problem is, though, you know, you have a show like this, really good, but it's like, you know, how long can you, you know, have that run for? Good question, but as long as they, you know, have the visuals that we need, I think this is going to be something really successful. So, out of all of the things that come after The Walking Dead, this is the one that has the most potential. So far, so good. I have minor things I'm concerned about, I'm not going to lie, but so far, I think it's making a good first impression. So, that's kind of my thoughts on Isle of the Dead.
Awesome. And we'll be right back for the final segment where we talk about the Rick Grimes movies. We're back for the last part of the Shit We Don't Like podcast on the Walking Dead franchise as a whole. And a fitting way to end it is to talk about the man himself, Rick Grimes, the one that started this franchise off, the one we grew to love so much from that pilot episode. And, you know, kind of talk about where that character is even at the moment. You know, kind of like what's going on with him, the movies, just an update on all that stuff. This will basically just be like a Rick Grimes designated segment. And I guess I'll go into that by saying, like, at least on my end of things, like, call me crazy, guys, like, I would prefer maybe no movie and, like, just come back for 11C. Like, I know you cut off the theater experience. People are like, oh, but no, you lose Rick in the theaters. That's terrible. I don't want to do that. But, like, think about this for a minute, guys, right? 11C, 1117 starts up. Rick comes back. 11B would set up some CRM shit, right? Rick comes back in 11C. 1117, he is back. He takes his show back, and he fucking leads the charge on Commonwealth and takes Lance down. That would be some epic shit right there. We get some shit with him and Negan, some dialogue between them two. Because Rick hasn't seen Negan be a redeemed character yet. So maybe Rick would be off put by him, like, oh, what are you doing out of your cell? And then, like, the characters, you know, it'd be crazy as if freaking maybe Maggie stuck up for Negan in front of Rick. Like, that would be some really crazy storytelling, a really crazy turn of events. Like, it would just be really cool. So many cool dialogue options and, like, cool things you could go about there, right? It would be a much better way than what we're going with 11C right now. Not also that, but Andrew Lincoln, the guy that plays Rick, he has been on account multiple times. Like, he wants to come back. He wants to be Rick Grimes again. He wants to get back into that role, right? But I think it's either Gimple or AMC. It's someone in the higher-ups is shooting that idea down, right? Because we even have, like, Kang. She was on, I believe it was Talking Dead a little while ago. She's like, oh, you never know. Rick Grimes could be back. But now it's kind of looking like he's not. because he was in Atlanta recently. I was thinking it was about a couple months ago. He took a photo with Norman. And I'm not going to go into this too much because this does get into kind of like spoiler territory. But photos have leaked, right? Like around the internet. And, you know, he's not in any of those photos, right? So that kind of just shows you like, okay, so he's not in any of this season. Unless they shot his scenes in some top secret like studio. Like they could have done that, but at least that we know of, there's no leaked shots of Andrew Lincoln anywhere. And there's been lots of leaked stuff out, and Andy's not in any of it. So that's kind of like that's like a major, you know, bummer with that. And, you know, the Rick movies in general, it's like, okay, am I excited for those movies? Yes. But where the fuck are they? Like, 2018, I remember this day vividly. It was at work, and I called my dad, right? And, this was like the day after 905 airs, right? I heard about it on Talking Dead. I call my dad up when I'm on my lunch break, and I'm like, hey, like, we got the Rick movies are coming out. Like, next year, we gotta go see Rick. He's in theaters. And we were making plans to do that, right? Next year rolls around. It's like, shit, where's the movie? No trailer, no nothing. And you got Gimple. Oh, we're working on it, you know? We're fiddling with the script a little bit, you know? We gotta get it done. And I'm like, okay, so 2020, the Rick movie's coming out. 2020 rolls around, COVID hits. It's like, everything kind of got delayed around then, so that one I kind of can excuse them for. But, like, late 2020, you know, kind of get back to it. Start rolling back into it, right? Like you did with 10C, Fear. If you could film fucking Fear, like, normally, you could film the Rick movies normally, you know? You got a nuke, you can film a movie with Andrew Lincoln as Rick, right? And then, you know, 2021 rolls around. And this is when I start getting annoyed, right? I think all of us as the fans at this point are kind of like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? It's like, you know, no news. You know, we get a insulting appearance from Gimple at Comic-Con. We're not talking about Rick today. You know, we get, that's the most we get on the Rick movies in like 2 years is that. And then it's kind of like a slap in the face, and then they move on to Fear and World Beyond. I'm like, I really could give a shit less about those shows right now, man. Like, give me Rick, you know? Like, give us those movies. And now it's 2022. And they promised us. They said, you know, 2021. Spring 2022, we are going to start filming those movies. We're going to get that done. 2022, it's summer now, right? Like, it's about early summer. There's no news of Rick movies anywhere. There's nothing. There's no scripts are apparently not done yet. They haven't contacted Andrew Lincoln about any of that. Yeah, sure, he's been in Atlanta for like 2 days. He went to a basketball game or something. I mean, that's nothing in terms of the Rick movie production. I don't know, guys. Super confusing. Not much going on there. And I'm gonna be honest, if we don't get news about Rick this year at Comic-Con, I'm gonna be fucking terrified that these movies aren't happening. I'm gonna start being like, okay, so are they trying to like sweep this under the rug now? Like, oh yeah, ooh, we don't want to do that no more. Ooh, get rid of that. Cause, hey, they got rid of Carol from the Carol and Daryl show. Who says they can't get rid of Rick if they don't want him? You know, they're capable. We've seen that now. They're capable of quickly changing things up, and we know that, right? At least that's what I have to say on it, really, guys. Just cause it's such a mess. No one knows what's going on with Rick. Like, we haven't seen him since 2018. It's a long time ago. It don't feel that long for me personally. Like, 905 still feels like a new episode to me. But in reality, it's time to get him back. And this ain't really a spoiler, guys, because this is out on the internet. They're bringing Walter White and Jesse Pinkman back, right? And Walter White is a dead character. They're bringing him back into Saul Season 6. Which is hype as fuck. I'm so ready for that. But it's like, you're telling me you can bring a dead character back who hasn't been in the franchise for a long time. You can even get a movie out, too, while you're at that. You know, El Camino. But Walking Dead can't get Rick for a fucking post-credit scene, even. Get the fuck out of here with that. What's your thoughts on it?
Well, where do I even begin? Here's the thing, right? It's like, you know, a show like The Walking Dead, or a show like Fear, or a show like Tales, or whatever. And honestly, guys, this is why we saved it for the end, is because, honestly, this is probably mine and Matt's, you know, biggest passion when it comes to any of this stuff, is because this is the best character, in our opinion. Again, everybody has their opinions. This is the best character to ever be created on this franchise. He's the best character. He's the one that started. He's the one that's responsible for, if you didn't care for that sheriff in season 1 trying to find his family, then why the hell are you here, And it actually pains me that a lot of people are, in this franchise right now. And I've seen countless comments. And again, if you think it's your opinion. We're not judging you. But one thing that I will say I've noticed, and as a Rick fanboy over here, it's actually sad to see, is that idiot. We got World Beyond, man. Why are you worrying about him? And believe me, guys, I've had these conversations with numerous people, and I'm like, where did you start? Did you start with World Beyond? Is that a thing now? Is that the cool thing to do? Because apparently this show is the best. I don't understand. And honestly, one thing I'll say about this franchise is that Rick is what started, and now I'll say this. Because, there's two things I'll add to this. Not only were they promising us this year in 2022 that they were going to start filming, but as a matter of fact, they promised us this in 2021 as well, too. Spring 2021, we're going to film the Rick Grimes movies. Didn't happen. I was like, all right, that's kind of weird, but, next year. Yeah, next year. It'll happen. 2022 rolls around. We're going to start filming in the spring. I remember when I heard that, I'm like, sure you are, sure. Yeah, we heard that last year, and Gimple turned you down. But you know what? It'd be a fun surprise. Go ahead and do it. I'm sitting here in my shorts out at the beach right now, and there's still no frickin' Rick movie. There's no filming for anything. So, you know what that tells me? Exactly. It's like, dude, seriously. This character, we're all begging. We're all on our, knees right now, begging for him to come back. The actor wants to come back, and you're getting ready to release your final season. And let me tell you one thing right now. If I don't see Rick in that series finale, that's not going to be a perfect ending. I don't care how fancy they do it and how it comes full circle and, oh, look, Daryl's riding on his motorcycle with Carol that's not going to be here when we see him again. But whatever, he's riding on his motorcycle. He finds a teddy bear male little boy and he kills it. And it's like, oh my God, it comes full circle to the beginning. Daryl with his crossbow kills the little kid. Oh, it came full circle on that one. Walking Dead music boots up. It's like, that's best ending ever. And all I'm going to say to that, frick you. That's not the ending I asked for. That's not the ending that we all wanted. Where's Morgan? He's not here. He's on another show. Fine. Bring Rick back. And, I guess the final thing I'll say about this, because I could go on for hours, guys, and I have, and watch basically all my videos, and, you pick any single one that's related to Walking Dead. I somehow get into this topic because it makes me go crazy already. But the last thing I'll say about this is, honestly, Rick in the final episodes of The Walking Dead, and I'm telling you right now, and this is as easy as it is, and to kind of talk about what Matt said earlier too, bring him into the final episodes, and it's like, I would take him being an 11C instead of the movies, and some people be disappointed. People, I'll tell you what, if I was in charge of this franchise, I would say bring him back in 24, or hell, bring him back sooner, but you know what, 24, have him have a reunion with Daryl, have him interact with Negan, Maggie, whatever you want to do, hell, have him interact with friggin' Shira, I don't care, just have him be back. But you're not, and you do that, you give Rick a happy ending, that's the end of that character, he's way older now, whatever you want to do. But then, you have a prequel film, one film, bring him back for that one film out in theaters, and guess what? You use it as a prequel to show you what happened from when he got taken away to how he got back home. You can do whatever you want. I'm trying to find my family. I'm trying to get whatever kind of nostalgia you want to pull. And you then get a happy ending for Walking Dead. You get the reunions. You get Rick on the big screen in theaters. And everybody's happy. Those people can get their World Beyond, whatever. But guess what? Everybody walks out of this with a smile on their face. So that's my thoughts on the Rick movies. And I guess the one last thing I'll say is this franchise and this franchise right now, Walking Dead, you're doing good for a normal season. But aside from that, All of the Dead, hurry up, because that's the only thing I can count on at this point. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah, and with all the stuff we talked about, we kind of went through the ups and the downs of everything. And, as a franchise overall, I'll say it has potential. It could be great. For all we know, Fear could be the one misstep along with World Beyond, and we can move past this and, have good stuff for the rest of the franchise. This is just our concerns, our opinions, our, thoughts on what is to come of The Walking Dead. as you know, we've both been watching the show for a very long time now. We just want to see the franchise do good. We don't like ranting about it like this, guys. It's not a pleasurable experience for us to sit here. It's not a hate piece or anything. This is just our thoughts on it, and you know, that's what it is with The Walking Dead right now. It's got decent stuff, but at least ever since, like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, at least on my end, ever since Pope showed up in 1104, this is the franchise. This is The Walking Dead as a whole recently. Ever since Pope has showed up, it's just been this. It's like Pope has cursed us or something. That's at least where I sit on it, right? Is like, ever since 1104, we've been in this dark hole, and we're trying to climb out of it, right? You know, trying to get back to the good stuff. But it's like, oh no, the dirt keeps coming down on us. Like, more crap keeps coming, you know? Like, it's just been, you know, really bad recently.
You know, one thing I'll actually say about that too, it's like, yeah, we're climbing out of somewhere, we're trying to get out and stuff, and then you got the episodes like No Other Way and Warlords, which I feel like is the rope. You can see the rope, and it's like, oh, this is my way out. Oh, that thing broke. What kind of piece of crap rope is that? All right, keep climbing. Okay, that's what this feels like, honestly.
Exactly, yeah. And I guess to wrap this up, guys, you know, what are your thoughts on the Walking Dead franchise? Are you guys cool with everything that's happening right now? Like, for all I know, like, you know, one of you guys could be watching, you know, a Fear fan or someone that is excited for the Daryl show. And if so, I would love to know why. All your opinions are welcome in the comments, and I will try to reply to as many of them as I can. I want to see where you guys are at with the franchise, because at least for myself personally, it's alright. I want to see it do better, but at least this year in particular, at least for me, the franchise is mostly a write-off so far. It's been bad, but hopefully Tales and like all that stuff can turn the tide. That's at least where I sit on it. And with that being said, guys, that is going to be the end of the Shit We Don't Like podcast, episode 3. We are back, and we are ready to film more episodes. We're going to be having guest appearances, multiple discussion topics, and, you know, monthly releases, but that gives us more time to perfect it and do it right for you guys instead of trying to rush one out every week. We can now take our time, pick a good topic, and really, you know, make a good episode for you guys. So, we hope you guys are excited for the revamp of Shit We Don't Like. And with that being said, guys, that is going to be the end of this podcast, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.
I'll see you in the next one.
And peace out.